Oh. Do we have a flashlight? What's up, guys? Today, I don't mean to scare you or anything, but we are going to be talking about something really spooky, really scary, quite terrifying, and gives me bad dreams every time I think about it. Maybe you've heard of American Horror Story. Terrifying. Well, we're not gonna be talking about that today. Today, we're gonna be talking about a marathon horror story. I have quite a few marathon horror stories, to be honest. So today is gonna be part one of a trilogy. I'm not gonna be calling out any names of races. Maybe you can recognize it by the fact that it's called the Ventura Marathon. Oh, Ventura, Southern California area. Here it is on a map, if you're unaware. I have been to this town far too many times for how poorly I have raced in this damn city. Sorry, Ventura. You have some great breweries, some great restaurants, but you did not have good races so far. Since I've ran this race, since I did the Ventura Marathon, Ventura, I say it weird. Since I did the Ventura Marathon, they actually changed the course. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one complaining here. So if you do run the Ventura Marathon, Ventura, just know the course has changed. And I'm pretty sure it's similar to Mountains to Beach, which is another race which starts in Ojai in the mountains and ends in Ventura. Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm ready to relive it. So let's start with the beginning. So here I am, training for a marathon. My training plan went really well. I was hitting my workouts. I was hitting the speed work that basically was telling me like, yeah, Michelle, you're on pace. You're gonna Boston qualify. You're gonna get it done. It's gonna be an awesome time. This is also a race in September, which if you're trying to qualify for Boston and let's say you didn't hit it in a race earlier in the year, this is the perfect time. In September, it's also the cutoff to make it into the race in not the next race, but the race the year after, you know what I mean? And so it was perfect timing. I was stoked, but the pressure was on. It was September. It was about to be the cutoff to qualify for 2 years in the future. Anyway, I can't believe I'm talking about this. It's like triggering me. Anyway, this race from where I lived at the time was close enough where I could drive and I didn't have to fly. And we can make a weekend out of it, you know, go to a couple restaurants, see the town, the beautiful city of Ventura. So this was the first time that I had ran the race because I went back for a second Ventura Marathon because I'm an idiot. I think I actually did it 3 times. I have a problem. I should be banned from the city of Ventura. It was a race where it was like a distance that I could have driven in the morning, but I would have had to wake up at midnight, and that's usually the time I'm going to bed when I can't sleep. And so we decided to get a hotel there the night before, which, yeah. So if you're doing the Ventura Marathon, a lot of the time, a lot of the hotels are gonna be pretty pricey close to race start, which is at the pier in Ventura. The race actually, just like a little background of the course, it starts in Ventura, it goes to Oxnard, which is a town right past Ventura, and it goes to the pier in Oxnard. So it's like pier to pier, so cool. And then it's basically an out and back course. So go to the pier in Oxnard, gorgeous, fun, and you come back to Ventura. Cool in theory, right? Like beach town, California, oh my God. No. To make it cheaper, because at this time I was a broke ass college student, we stayed in Oxnard, maybe 10 minutes from the starting line. So, I mean, the drive in the morning was not that bad. And it wasn't crazy traffic and there wasn't too many roads blocked if you left early enough. It was fine. And I had a driver, so it was great. So we got a local motel because we're bougie in Oxnard, gorgeous aesthetic. And it looked like a hotel out of a horror story. Just, you know, tumbleweeds everywhere, somebody yelling at their child's probably on a leash. And there I am, so excited, got my bib in one hand, got my dignity in another, and I'm walking up the steps to the room. So at the time, you lay out your flat runner when you're packing for a race that's out of town. And basically your flat runner is, you've got your clothes, you got everything you need, your shoes, your Garmin. It's basically what you're gonna wear for the race the next day or whenever the race is. And so I laid out my flat runner, but I missed out on a key component of the flat runner, in which case was the sock, which I did not realize at the time how important socks are. And not just like a fresh, new, clean pair of socks. I'm talking about socks that you've worn before and you know they work for you. You know, the number one rule of race day is you do not try something new. I had a full-fledged panic of I don't have any socks. It is 7 o'clock, nothing's gonna be open. And so I Google like crazy. These are my fingers, this is the rate of how I was texting. And so I finally found, I think there's like a Ross that was open until 7:30 or 8 or something. And so I drove like a mad woman to that Ross. I found socks that looked like a decent pair. Which were they? Absolutely not. They were like kind of athletic socks and they were fine. And it was honestly one of the only choices that I had. And so, how is this ponytail still in? I chose them. Came in a pack of 6. I wore the pink ones. And so I got the socks, got home. Oh, could take a deep breath now. Like I was feeling okay, I was feeling fine. We got it all taken care of. My flat runner was perfect. It was great. So got my dinner in, staying hydrated, go to bed. Oh, and so you think I'm gonna have a good night's sleep? You are wrong. There was a murder. Well, I don't know if there was a murder, but I'm pretty sure there was. Hear me out. In the middle of the night, probably 1 a.m., all of a sudden you hear a which is a gunshot sound, obviously. Loud gunshot and a like a loud scream, which is the most welcoming sound you can hear the night before your race. So, you know, we look out the window, we do our civil duty of, do we call the cop? What's going on? We hear the cop car pull up though to our hotel. Just kidding, I shouldn't call it that. Motel. And so we know that the cops are in it, so we don't need to call anything. So go back to bed. You just hear so many sirens, so much going on, all in front of the hotel, by the way. Motel, wow, sorry. Go up to the door, I'm like, padlock. Full-fledged anxiety, kind of sleep on and off. I mean, overall, I did get a handful of hours. And you know what, if you have a bad night's sleep the day before a race, it's fine. All that matters is the night's sleep the day before the night before the race. Your sleep quality the day before is more important because sometimes we all get nerves. But this was a nerve based on a murder. So maybe it got my mind off the race, whatever. Hope everyone's okay though. So I woke up feeling so good. I had my pre-race breakfast, which I usually bring bread, a little bit of peanut butter and sliced banana on top. Ate it, no problem. I even pooped. I had some coffee and some water, just a little bit. Like I was feeling so good. I had my goo in my pocket for when I needed fuel during the run. I was set up. I was set up for success. My training was perfect. Yeah, I didn't have a good night's sleep, but who cares? Yeah, I'm wearing a pair of socks that are foreign to me, but it's fine. All right, so we get there. I get to the start early enough where I can pee a couple times, pretend I had to pee a third, like a phantom pee, if you know what I mean. When you get into the porta potty, nothing comes out, but you like mentally feel like you did something and you give yourself a high five. Get to the starting line. I see a lot of friends from my running group at the time that was running the race. We say hi, we say good luck, we talk about goals, all that cool stuff. And in September, the race can get pretty hot. In my pace group at the time, to qualify for Boston, it was a sub 3:35. But this was the time where it's like, oh, 3:35. No, you can hit a sub 3:35 and still not go to Boston, which I've done. Because you had to hit a different cutoff time. It's confusing and frustrating. So I'm with my pace group, and usually in the beginning of a marathon, kind of depending on how I'm feeling, sometimes if I'm trying to go for that negative split, which I never do in marathons, I will not really take a conservative pace at the beginning, but go race pace or a little bit slower. Who am I kidding? I don't do that. I just lied. I was in front of the pace group, but there was like a handful of girls that were also in front of the pace group. And so I kind of started a small conversation with them, which when I'm going for a marathon full out, usually in the first 10 miles, I might talk back and forth, short sentences, just to kind of feel comfortable if somebody else is willing to have a conversation with me. And we're talking, and they were from Arizona. So shout out if you're watching this, which you aren't watching this, but if you are, how cool would that be? Let me know. And they were talking about how they had to wake up, since they're from Arizona, they had to wake up at like 3 a.m. some days to run because it was so hot. And so they weren't concerned with the temperature. Yeah, I got some run-ins, definitely in some heat, but this is gonna be challenging because the race, when you're going to that Oxnard Pier, you're on the freeway, basically. You're on this disgusting road, disgusting highway, freeway, I don't know. It's just road. and you're just on this with the sun beating down on you. We're talking marathon here, people, 26.2 miles. Should I have turned around where the half turnaround was? In hindsight, yes. So I'm feeling good the first 5 miles, but when I get over that part, the pace started feeling a little aggressive. And so, like I was saying, I was going maybe a little bit faster than my goal race pace, which I wanted a sub 3:30. So I was going like a little sub 8, high 7s. This is a pace I practiced. I felt confident. I had a 10-mile tempo run. I hit this pace fairly well in the middle of a 20-mile long run. And so I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. Mile 6 came and I'm thinking, wow, this feels hard. This feels fast. And yeah, it was getting kind of hot and I was feeling the pounding of the road, and it's a very flat course. You know, it should have been easy in my head, but I was like, I'm just gonna slow it down. You know, I banked a little bit of time from these 5 miles. I'm gonna slow it down, hang out with the pace group and see what happens. So 10 miles in, something's wrong. Something's up. Something was coming up. Do you catch my drift? Do you know what I'm saying? A few more miles, we're gonna get to the pier and we're gonna turn around. Usually you can play a mind game in your head, if anything, and say, you know what? I'm over the halfway mark. If you're over 13.1, you're over the halfway mark. I'm turning around. Usually I get a little pep in my step. That did not happen. So I hit 10 miles and I'm like, this pace seems nearly impossible. I have over 16 miles left. What is going to happen? So I see my friend who is behind me. He had a similar time that he was going for and he looked pretty fresh. He looked pretty good. He's like, you okay? And I say, I don't know, Dylan. He's like, all right. I'm like, keep on going. I keep on going though. I'm like, okay, so I'm slowing down slower than goal race pace in the low 8s, which is fine. I banked a little bit of time. This is that turnaround point. Once I get that, you know, rush of energy, I should be fine. Blast my music, do my thing. No, absolutely not. So mile 14 comes. That's when the puke came, and I still don't understand this puke to this day. It just happens. It could have been the mixture of the weather and whatnot. I had eaten what I thought was perfect leading up to the race. I've been hydrating really well. I did everything right, theoretically. Sometimes it's not the cards. And so I felt it come up. I felt the, and then you know the feeling in the back of your throat when you're about to puke? Mile 14, I got some puke coming. It's hot, we got the cement, we got the road, the gravel, and I let it rip.
No, God, please, no!
Well, I suppressed it at first.
No!
Gross. Imagine how I was feeling at the time. If you're grossed out, I was triple grossed out. Oh, my body's like, oh, you think you can get away with that, huh? Half mile later, as I'm taking a little bit of a walk at a water station, I have to go and kind of spit up behind a tree. I should just run back to my motel at this point in Oxnard, since I am closer. This is the kind of time where in a race you daydream about being injured. I know that sounds dark, but part of you thinks, what if I just fell and scrape my knee? I can pretend it's broken and go to a medical tent and I don't have to finish it. This is what goes through your head when you're having a terrible race. So the puke, that actually happens one more time. And when you're running a marathon, and if you've had a bad race, you know how demoralizing it is to have all of the pace groups running by you, way past the time you were aiming for. Especially when the pace group leader tries to cheer you on. You got this, join our pace group. I'm like, stop it. Don't look at me. So I'm doing this like walk, run, shuffle kind of thing. I had, at this point, 11 miles left. And when I realized that fact, I looked on the ground and what did I see? Roadkill. And I saw 3 more dead animals on the road. Is this irony? Is this a metaphor? And this is why I think they changed the course, because if you're dying and you see dead animals, it is the last thing you want to see. Again, I go back 2 more times to Ventura and like 3 times at Mountains to Beach. I just have issues. So I get very thirsty. And when it's this hot, 80 degrees, by the way, I see my Arizona friends also dying. And so we had this shared pain. Felt really bad for them, but this mutual understanding of like, I was sunburnt. I didn't put enough sunscreen on apparently, or it just sweat off, and I didn't wear a headband. So I had sweat in my eyes. Now I'm blind, got this throw up coming. Okay, I just gotta go mile by mile, like get it done. I'm playing inspirational music on my, I think it was an iPod Shuffle at the time. All right, so mile 17, I'm making my way there, you know, a little over 9 miles left. And at this time, when you hit a wall at the halfway mark, there's nothing more depressing. But I knew I had to finish it for revenge and for the beer garden. So I'm getting there, I'm doing my thing. Mile 19, it feels like mile 35. And I realized in my shoes, I totally forgot about the socks. But now I remembered I had new socks on. It was bad.
Bam! Blood everywhere.
Sometimes I get blisters, but usually it's if the course is net downhill and there's like kind of a lot of downhill segments. There's a lot of rubbing action going on, but usually if I wear the right socks, it's fine. Every step I took was like a the worst blister of my life. I just want to take my shoes off. I want to run barefoot. At least it will take the pain away from what my body's feeling right now. I'll just focus on the toe. Mile 21 comes. Bathroom issues hit. Again, not quite sure how this happened, but I allowed it. I said, you know what, porta potty, here I come. So I stopped at a porta potty, whatever. Another mile. Got some issues going on if I go again. Mile 25 comes. Instead of going 1.2 miles, I'm stopping again. I'm never coming here again. I'm never running a marathon again. Funny thing is, my end time for the race, if you're looking at it just without knowing the story, you'd say, Michelle, like that was a fine marathon time. Yeah, it'd be a fine marathon time if I was planning for that time, if I had, you know, evenly ran with even splits or negative splits and got to the end at that time. But no, I was going hella fast for 10 miles. And then I had 16 miles of pain, discomfort, hate, any dignity I had. And there I am, so excited, got my bib in one hand, got my dignity in another. It was out the window. Mile 26 comes. I honestly think, do I want to go 0.2 more miles? Is this even a good idea? Should I just stop now? I thought about it. I don't even have a kick. I got to the end, I almost fainted. After that, I had a beer. I went to McDonald's and I got fries. Right when I got through that finish line, it took me 1 week to sign up for my next race. This is my A Marathon Horror Story Part 1. Let me know, 1, if you have ran the Ventura Marathon before they changed the course, and 2, what is your marathon horror story or half marathon horror story? And with that, I will say goodbye. But if you could subscribe and like this video on YouTube, that'd be awesome. Okay, I'll talk to you later.